Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of TLFC. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 young players to keep an eye out for in this year's 2024 Copa America and Euro tournaments. So there's a ton of great young players playing in the tournaments this year. So the Euro tournament just started this week. Copa starts next week, so I figured it was a good time to make a top 10 list of the young players to keep an eye out for. Just so you guys know the parameters here, you have to be under the age of 20. So if you're 20 or older, you're not going to make this list. It's going to be teenagers only, true Wonderkids, if you will, on this list. So yeah, if you're older than 20, you're not going to make it. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to get to the 1,000 subs and we're getting pretty close. So if you wouldn't mind subscribing, I'd really appreciate it. But other than that, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at who I think are the top 10 young players in this year's big summer tournaments. Let's get into it. Number 10, Valentin Carboni. Valentin Carboni is a 19-year-old Argentine football player who plays attacking midfielder for Serie A club Monza, currently on loan from Inter Milan, with whom he made his first team debut at just 17 years old. Carboni received his first senior call-up in March of this year to the Argentine national team, and he is just set to potentially break out on the international scene. That being said, I don't really expect him to see a lot of minutes in this tournament. If any at all, he probably won't see any. But to describe his play style, he is a left-footed player who prefers to find himself in that number 10 role. So, you know, that's Messi's role. But he can also play as a striker. And surprise, surprise, he credits, Messi as his inspiration as a player. All right, number 9, João Neves. So João Neves is a 19-year-old Portuguese footballer who plays central midfield for Portuguese side Benfica. And he made his first team debut with them at the age of 18. Neves was called up to the Portuguese national senior side for the first time in October of last year, making his debut against Bosnia and Herzegovina in a 2024 Euro qualifier. There's currently a race for João's talent in Europe, with both PSG and Manchester United rumored to be chasing after his signature. However, it is thought that he's leaning towards Manchester United, where he could join his fellow countryman Bruno Fernandes. João is praised for his highly mature and strong mental aspects of his game, while having all the necessary skills and toughness to be a technically sound central midfielder. I would have him a little higher on this list, but I just don't expect him to see a ton of minutes in this tournament. But very good young player. Number 8, Kenan Yıldız. So Kenan Yıldız is a 19-year-old Turkish footballer who plays primarily as a winger and forward for Serie A club Juventus, where he actually made his first team debut at the age of 18. Yıldız was actually born in Germany, but was also eligible to play for Turkey and chose Turkey because he was able to get into the side at a younger age. He had his first senior call-up at the age of 18, where he made his debut against Croatia in a Euro 2024 qualifier. Yıldız is known as a strong playmaker and was a mainstay in the Juventus lineup for the 2023-24 season, seeing 32 appearances in 38 matches. I expect him to see a lot of minutes in the Euro 2024 tournament and be a very important part of Turkey's potential success in this tournament. He's a very strong player, great distributor of the ball. I expect him to be a big part of what Turkey does in this tournament. All right, number 7, Alejandro Garnacho. Alejandro Garnacho is a 19-year-old Argentine footballer who currently plays winger/forward with English powerhouses Manchester United. He made his first team debut with them in October of 2022 at just 17 years old and has become a staple of the Manchester United lineup, even scoring a big goal in the FA Cup final to help propel Manchester United over their arch rivals, Man City, and become the FA Cup champions. Garnacho, being born in Spain, is eligible to play for both Argentina and Spain with an Argentine mother, and actually made 3 appearances in the Spain youth system before ultimately being called up by the Argentina senior side. He made his debut for the Argentina national team at the age of 18 in June of 2023. Garnacho is a very fast player who is a technical dribbler and is very good at creating chances for himself and his teammates. He's an electric, very fast-paced player who is not afraid to run at defenders and bend one to the back post. And, I did want to put him a little higher on this list, but in truth, he may have a hard time getting playing time on this very competitive Argentina roster. All right, number 6, Kendry Páez. Kendry Páez is a 17-year-old Ecuadorian footballer who currently plays as a midfielder with Ecuadorian side Independiente del Valle, and he will be the youngest player involved in the 2024 Copa America. Páez made his international senior debut in September of 2023 at the age of just 16, providing a match-winning assist in a World Cup qualifier against Uruguay. So, very talented young player. This made him the second youngest South American international player since Diego Maradona. So, it's a big deal that he's playing this young. As a 16-year-old, he scored his first senior goal against Bolivia, becoming the youngest goal scorer ever in the CONMEBOL World Cup qualifiers. With all these firsts and potential, the young man drew plenty of interest from Europe, and without hesitation, Chelsea have already secured a deal for the player to move to Stamford Bridge after he turns 18 in May of next year. Kendry is described as a player with zero fear, taking on defenders with his dribbling, and another player who draws inspiration from Lionel Messi, as well as his fellow countryman Gonzalo Plata. Number 5, we have Kobbie Mainoo. Kobbie Mainoo is a 19-year-old English footballer who currently plays central midfield with English side Manchester United, where he made his first team debut in January of 2023 at the age of just 17. Mainoo received his first senior call-up to the English national team in March of this year and earned his debut at the age of 18 against Brazil in Wembley Stadium. Having impressed in his first England start against Belgium, he earned himself a Euro roster spot just 3 months after his England debut. Mainoo does look to find some minutes in this tournament as well, already being used as a tactical sub in England's first game against Serbia, coming in the 86th minute in the 1-0 win. Mainoo is a very strong player who primarily plays as a defensive central midfielder for Manchester United. He is very composed and strong on the ball and always seems to make the right decision for such a young footballer. Not to mention, he can score a banger from time to time, and he is a very composed finisher, as evidenced by his winning goal in the FA Cup final. All right, number 4, Warren Zaire-Emery. So Warren Zaire-Emery is an 18-year-old French footballer who currently plays defensive midfield for French giants PSG, where he made his official debut in 2022 at just 16 years of age, making him the youngest player to feature in a match for PSG ever. Warren received his first French senior call-up in November of 2023, becoming the youngest player called up to the French national team since 1914, over 100 years. He made his debut against Gibraltar at the age of 17, where he scored to become the youngest scorer in the history of French football. Zaire-Emery has incredible technical ability for a player of his age, is a very strong tackler with the composure and vision to come out of those tackles with a mind for pushing forward, which makes him a fantastic counter-attacking footballer. Unfortunately for Zaire-Emery, he is behind N'Golo Kanté in the pecking order, and N'Golo Kanté is an incredible defensive midfielder, so he may not see a ton of minutes in this tournament, but his skill and ability is impossible to ignore, so I put him 4th on this list. All right, number 3, we have Arda Güler. So Arda Güler is a 19-year-old Turkish footballer who currently plays as an attacking midfielder and winger for Spanish powerhouses Real Madrid, where he was the big summer signing of last year's summer window 2023. Güler started his senior football with Turkish side Fenerbahce, where he earned his first senior team start in 2021 at the age of just 16 years old. Arda made his first Turkish senior debut at the age of 17 in 2022 and became the youngest goal scorer in the history of the Turkish national side the following year at 18 years of age. Unfortunately, in his time with Real Madrid, Güler did deal with some early injuries, but upon his return to health in the beginning of this year, 2024, he became an instantly impactful player to the team, scoring 6 goals in 10 competitions. Arda is honestly a very, very talented player coming off the right wing. He has a very direct approach, fearless play style, and absolutely excellent passing and vision. He is going to be a problem in world football for years to come and a great player for Real Madrid for a long time. I'm curious to see how Turkey does with their 2 young footballers that have made this list. All right, number 2, we have Endrick. Endrick is a 17-year-old Brazilian footballer who just finished up his 2nd senior season with Brazilian side Palmeiras, where he made his senior debut at the age of just 16 in 2022. Later in December of that same year, Spanish supergiants Real Madrid announced they had reached an agreement with Palmeiras to sign him on his 18th birthday, meaning they have been patiently waiting for 2 years, and they will be signing Endrick this summer in July. Endrick received his first senior call-up with Brazil in November of last year at just 17 years of age, becoming the youngest male Brazilian called up since Ronaldo in 1994, and becoming the 4th youngest Brazilian to debut for the national side ever. In just 6 international appearances as a 17-year-old, Endrick has already managed 3 goals, scoring in his debut in a friendly against England in Wembley, where Brazil won 1-0 and he scored the game-winning goal. Endrick is an incredibly electric player with zero fear. Incredibly concise, very direct on the ball, and he has a very deadly left foot and skills that have brought him comparisons with many Brazilian legends. He is an absolute workhorse, being quoted himself as saying, "I never give up, I pressure defenders, I run more than anyone else on the pitch." He has an incredible technical skill set to partner with that never quit hustle attitude. I honestly had a very hard time not putting Endrick as my #1 player on the list, and honestly he could very much prove to be the #1 player when it's all said and done from this list, but I think our next player has earned the top spot. All right, #1, Lamine Yamal. So Lamine Yamal is a 16-year-old Spanish footballer, yes, 16, who plays his senior football with Spanish giants Barcelona, where he received his senior debut in April of 2023 at just 15 years of age. This made him the youngest Barcelona debutant in over 100 years. He received his first start in August of 2023, making him the youngest starter in the history of Barcelona, which was met by a standing ovation from the opposition team's fans when he was subbed off. So yes, when he was subbed off, the opposing team's fans stood up and clapped. In just his second ever start for Barcelona, Lamine Yamal was named man of the match and provided 2 assists. At the age of 16 years and 50 days, Yamal received his first senior call-up to the Spanish national side and made his debut 7 days later, where he scored, becoming the youngest goal scorer in Spain history in a 7-1 defeat of Georgia, and subsequently becoming the youngest goal scorer ever in a Euro qualifying match, supplanting Gareth Bale. Just 11 days later, Yamal became the second youngest player to debut in a Champions League match in a win over Antwerp. Because of this early success and his undeniable skill, just 2 months after his first team debut, Barcelona placed a $1 billion, yes, $1 billion buyout clause on his contract and secured his rights as a Barcelona player until 2026. These are insane numbers for a 16-year-old player, and honestly absolutely cannot be ignored. Yamal is a left-footed forward/winger with incredible skill coming off the right side. He has a fantastic nose for finding the far post with his left foot coming across the middle, and just undeniable dribbling skills, vision, and composure for a 16-year-old player. He is already drawing comparisons with Barcelona and world legend Lionel Messi because of his undeniable skill, left-footed play, and ability to play at the highest level at such a young age. Honestly, guys, I contemplated putting Endrick above Yamal, but the things this guy has done at 16 years of age are genuinely astounding. I mean, he started in Spain's initial Euro 2024 match this week. He got an assist, and he almost scored. The kid is incredible. His ability is simply undeniable, his club value is astronomical, and frankly, this young man is the most exciting player in all of the tournaments this summer, so tune in to Lamine Yamal. All right, guys, that's going to go ahead and do it for this week. Thank you so much for sticking around, those of you who made it to the end. Next week, I'll be going to the Brazil versus Costa Rica game, so keep an eye out for a vlog of that game. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate you guys sticking around for another video. Please consider subscribing, and other than that, have a super fantastic weekend. See you next week. Bye.